Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Imani. Easiest way I could describe this: have you ever seen The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis? This is the movie with a black cast. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 10 available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Now you might listen to my description and say, "Oh, why are you knocking the movie?" Well, I'm really not. I love The Long Kiss Goodnight, actually. So it's a good premise. It's not like The Long Kiss Goodnight wasn't derivative to begin with. The basic premise being there is a secret agent who has lost their memory and they're living a mundane life, and then one day she gets triggered and remembers who she is, and then she can start killing people again. So, but this is a darker version. The Gina Davis one was a little lighter, more fun. This one, like, tries to be more serious. I think that's probably a mistake. Because as much as I love the concept of a beautiful woman being like secretly an assassin, it's kind of a hard sell from a serious standpoint. I mean, they tie it all the way back into like the Iraq War, and she, which isn't a bad idea. It gives her the background and the training, and here she is confronting, I guess, her husband, who's kind of in on it, or maybe not. But it's not, I think, a realistic enough concept to really pull off as totally serious. So let's see who wrote this thing. Oh, the credits are weird on this. Director of photography. Okay, written by Amalika McCall and Tushonda Whitaker. Okay, and directed by Mike Ho. All right. Does that include any of the cast, I'm wondering? No. With Stephen Bishop and Reginald Vell Johnson, who I guess just are in the movie, but they're not main characters. They're kind of more supporting. The executive producer is also a producer. And that's about it. That's about all we can learn from that. January 2023 in theaters and on, I'm going to assume, some kind of streaming platform. Can't tell. But it looks okay. I mean, it's got lots of action in it, so I'm going to like it. It's got gangsters in it. It's got surprising revelations. Your main actress seems to have pretty good moves. Yeah, we don't have any more data on it. So she changes up her look, again, just like Gina Davis in A Long Kiss Goodnight. But this doesn't appear to have that kind of budget. Although maybe, it's hard to say, because there are scenes that take place apparently during the Iraq War with her in the past, and then you've got scenes like this in a crazy jail, and you got gangster scenes, so it may have a bit of a budget. There's a lot of gunplay. Here she is later, when she remembers who she is, in a hot dress, killing dudes. So the way I would break this down, probably very similar to The Long Kiss Goodnight. First act, you've got her in her new life. You don't know it's her new life. She's Miss Mundane, whoever she is, and she takes pills to keep herself okay, because as she sees it, she was in a car accident years ago, and she has to keep the pills in order to not suffer any ill effects from the car accident she was in, which is why she doesn't remember parts of her past, right? Then something happens. Either she's mugged, or some guys with guns attack her. Maybe they recognize who she is, and that it triggers her memories. She ends up killing all the dudes and surviving, and starts to remember, wait a minute, I remember who I am. Her husband or significant other say, "Oh, no, sweetie, you're having one of your episodes. You got to take your meds," because that was part of the trailer. She ends up waking up in the hospital or something. Maybe it's unrelated to the events. Maybe they're after her husband, who may be somehow involved in some stuff. I don't know. I think the husband may be involved with her facade in some way. Although the husband in The Long Kiss Goodnight was not. He didn't know. He was totally clueless. So she starts to regain her memory back in Act 2 and starts to do some digging, refuses to take her meds, starts remembering more, realizes, wait a minute, people have lied to me. As she hunts down the answers, more people attack her or she is forced to defend herself. And then at some point, it appears she gets all her memory back and then completely transforms back into the woman that she was, much like Gina Davis in The Long Kiss Goodnight, only it was clear in that movie that it was really more of a combo of the two identities. It was, yes, she's an assassin, but she kind of goes back to that just long enough to kill the bad guys and then kind of dovetails back into her regular, or I'll say nice personality of not the assassin, because she didn't want to leave behind her kids and her nice life there. I'm not seeing that portion of it here in the third act, although I suspect it may go in that direction, or maybe not. Maybe she remembers who she is and just goes back to that life. That would be a different twist on that same story. And again, I'm not knocking the movie for taking this tact. It has been done before. There are other movies and stories where there's a person who has no memory, or doesn't remember who they are. They took up a new life, and then something happens, and then they go, "Oh, I'm an assassin." Usually, it was like the Soviet planted assassin that was hypnotized and didn't even know they were an assassin or something. I don't think they're going down that road. I think she's the hero, and it looks to have a lot of action. It's got her in it. She's hot. I mean, and then we got some intrigue with the husband here. I don't know if they can pull this movie off on a lower budget. I'm going to guess this is a lower budget. Seems, but not that low. I was talking about movie budgets in Hollywoke Hot Take today. They must have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on that damn movie, and I feel like they didn't need to. Here, I think 40 million would go a long way. I don't even think it costs that much. I think you're really looking at maybe like 20 million. There's not a lot of name stars that I recognize here. But it looks pretty good. My worry would be that since it's not a big budget action film per se, or may not be, that the reality is there are scenes like this that go on, right? You get like 30 seconds of action, and then we get 10 minutes of them, "Oh, what did you do? You lied to me." Not so much of a fan, although it looks like a nice scene. There's a sexiness to it. She looks hot, and then she pulls out a gun and threatens him with it. So I don't know, maybe there's a hot sex scene in there. That wouldn't be totally bad. There seems to be a lot of intrigue, but a lot of the movie seems to be, at least from this trailer, inside. There's not a lot of production value here, and I'm not knocking the movie necessarily for that, but that's an indication of a lower budget, right? If you don't have big sweeping shots of helicopters flying in and guys swinging into windows and airports and cities, that's an indication that all this stuff was shot on a soundstage and in sets and in buildings. I mean, it's got a nice opening. This isn't bad, but this is fairly cheap to shoot. You just need an alleyway, a car, and the costuming and the props, right? If they would just shoot a scene like this in a Tom Cruise movie, it would be in front of a hotel at a plaza in Italy with hundreds of extras and people running as the events happen, and there'd be all these crazy shots and police cars wrecking each other. This is a low-budget way of doing that. Again, not knocking it for that, just telling you what to expect. I wouldn't expect those a big plaza in Italy for a movie like this. Would I watch it? I'd probably check it out. Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't go to the theater for it, just because I am a huge fan of The Long Kiss Goodnight. And I know this movie ain't going to beat that. But I would see it. I would watch it. Because I like these kinds of movies, action-oriented or whatever. I have a high bar for it, so halfway through the movie, if they're kind of like boring me, I might tune out. But, for a rental, as we used to say back in the day, for something on video on demand, sure, I'd watch this. I mean, you got a hot protagonist, she's going to be killing dudes. What's not to like? So, Imani, I'm not so sure about the title. I mean, it's okay. That's sort of a default title. You name it after your main character. Like, I don't know. I think it needed something a little snazzier, like the Imani Initiative or something like that. Give it a little more. It's got a bit of a military bent. I would play up the military angle a little more, or something like that. You know what's a similar movie too? Is The Bourne Identity, right? Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Character that doesn't have a memory and then suddenly realizes, oh, I got all these superpowers. I can kill people. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and like you get mugged and you end up like killing the mugger with your bare hands. Like, my God, I'm a killing machine. That would be a fun movie to parody. I think that would be a great parody movie, right? Like a Bourne Identity type with this sort of setup where it's just like a normal guy who realizes, oh my God, I kill people. All right, that's it for me, Tony D, laughing at my own jokes. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. I have a news blast later. And, of course, Hollywoke Hot Take. It's a big one today. Don't miss it. And we'll see you